remember the first night that I went to give a keynote on resilience years ago. And I decided to go online and do a stress test. Have you ever heard of a stress test? Essentially what it is that here are all these things that can be happening to you. Here's all the suckage that could be happening in your life. And each of them is going to get a numerical value. So you just write down, like, what did I actually go through, what happened, and then you add up your score. And so I did this the night before, trying to remember back to that worst time when the doctor told me I had to reevaluate my expectations for my life. And when I tallied it all up, thinking back to that time, my score was 734. Now, the legend said, if you have a score over 330, seek professional help immediately. Now, I don't tell that story to be dramatic. I tell that story to point out that our society's approach to the word stress is inherently flawed. When we call all of this suckage around us, all the things we're going through, all the challenges that we experience, we call them stress. Once again, like trying to bounce back, we're doing ourselves a disservice on our daily resilience. Oh, it's so stressful. Oh, that must be really stressful. Anybody ever heard this? You hearing this? Like, yeah, oh, that's stressful. Just because something's going wrong doesn't mean we need to be stressed about it. And so through my journey, I got really frustrated with everything just being stressed because it felt overwhelming. It felt like I had no control. It felt like I didn't know how I was going to be able to show up each day, just like each of us who has to show up each day no matter what the suckage is and the punches that are coming at us. What I realized is that stress is our reaction to what's happening around us. It's not actually the challenges, but see, those challenges fall into three categories. Imagine all of the things right now that are causing you stress in your life, and imagine them as these three things: tasks, obstacles, and adversities. Tasks are things we need to do. Obstacles are things we need to solve. And adversities are things we need to heal from. But most of the time we just call it all stress. So now let's unpack this. Instead, what we need to do is we need to be able to take the time, have the capacity on a day-to-day basis to be able to heal and find a new path forward by building a new bridge or finding another way. And so when I had my surgery, the adversity was the pain. And when that doctor told me, you're never going to work full-time again, you need to reevaluate your expectations for life, I started to work with a pen and paper, and I said, okay, what are the things that I can't change? How can I process them? How can I heal from them? What can I do on a day-to-day basis to do it? And then my answer was, I'll go get all this stress management advice. You've likely heard of these as before. I call them the critical six. The things we're supposed to do to not be stressed. The simple things. We need to exercise. We need to breathe deeply. I tell you, who has ever felt like when you're in like a really tough emotional moment and somebody tells you to breathe, you're like, I don't know if that's the right thing to say. Because nobody who's ever been told to calm down has actually ever calmed down. It's just not how it works. Remember, this was pre-COVID, I was out for lunch with a friend of mine who is an executive at a national level firm. And, they work locally, of course. And I'm like, how's work going? She goes, awful. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. So what's going on? She goes, look, 3 weeks ago, head office sent down a directive for this new reporting system, and, they just don't get it. Nobody's going to read these reports anyway. They don't know what I'm going through on the ground. They don't know how busy my life is. And, maybe it's time for me to start looking for a new job. I went, oh, wow, okay, this is a big deal. Tell me about this report. Like, how long is it going to take you? She leans back in her chair. She's like, 15 minutes. And I'm like, 15 minutes? And you've spent 3 weeks upset at your company over a 15-minute task. COVID was a sinkhole for all of us. It still is. And the people who got through it the best, all the conversations I've had with audiences and all virtual until today, thank you people, is that the ones who could figure out how to get the task done, solve the obstacles, were the ones who had the most capacity left over to grieve and heal from the pandemic.